live. Hey, everybody, today's episode is brought to you by us and every other fucking podcaster on the earth. If you got some money, give it to us, you fucking cheap bastards. All you got to do is go to My Worst Holiday at patreon.com and give us some money. If you like somebody, if you like a podcast, it's the cheapest entertainment you're ever going to get. A bucket episode, that's all we're asking. It helps out a little. Not that I don't love doing this, but give me your fucking money, okay? And with that being said, from a room next to my bathroom in my basement, this is My Worst Holiday, a podcast about your worst wedding, worst party, bachelorette party, or anything that's funny after the fact. We want to hear it. Talk about somebody in advance. I think that's funny. Don't you think that's funny? I think it's funny. All right, and we have a very special guest, Mr. Dan, the comedian, funny man, Friedman.
Hey.
Say hello.
Hello, America. Hello, StreamYard. What's up? What's happening? My worst story. I don't have a lot of. I got some embarrassing stories.
Fantastic.
But I also got some other kind of like cool shit. Like if you want to know a little bit about me.
Absolutely. In fact, that's where we start out. We want to know everything about you. You get the floor. You got the platform. Tell us about us, what you have coming up, what you've done, where we can find your other stuff, whatever, man. If they can send you money, you cheap fuckers. So, yeah, go ahead and tell us all about you.
I'm working on that part. Well, my name's Dan Friedman. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. I lived in LA for 15 years. I've had a lot of interesting jobs. I've been Go Bengals, Go Joey Burr, Joe Burr. I shout out to Joe Burr. Maybe he'll watch. Hey, Bengals fan. I can't make jokes about the Bengals anymore. But anyway, yeah, there went like 5 minutes of my act. I've been doing stand-up for like 30 years. You recently had on Phil Perrier, my buddy, who we did the movie One Nighters together. It's free. It's on YouTube. You can look it up. One Nighters, 2 words. Worked on 30 AAA titles and video games. I'm a gamer. Hence that Xbox headset. I've worked on movie sets. I've worked in productions. I got a lot of interesting stories. So, I mean, a couple of little known facts about me. I've been to 6 Super Bowls.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been to 6, and I saw Prince play at the halftime show.
Oh, no way.
Super Bowl. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Was that when the Bears won the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yes, and they lost. I actually rooted against Peyton Manning, which I learned after that to never do. It's the only football game I ever went to.
Big horseshoe over here, buddy.
Okay, well, fan. Yeah, you guys, yeah, there you go. That was a great game. It's the only football game I ever went to. I went to a lot of Bengals games as a kid with my dad, and it's the only football game I ever went to where it rained for all 4 quarters.
Oh, really?
Consistently rained for 4 fucking quarters. The water was shooting out of my shoes. It was, I mean, like, and here's another ironic twist to all of that. In addition to 6 Super Bowls, 2 of them have been in Detroit, 2 have been in Miami, 1 was in San Diego, 1 was in Atlanta. So of the 6, I'm trying to do math right now. What's that fraction? Like a third of them are in 2 cities, just two different cities.
Yeah.
So, and I, interestingly enough, I was lucky enough to work. I've worked in production. I've worked in some movies. So I worked with Joe Pesci on a film. I got kind of a cool Joe Pesci story. And I worked with Paul Sorvino on a film.
Do I look funny to you?
Yeah. Well,
do I look funny to you?
Do I look like a fucking clown?
Clown.
So I actually worked on a film with Paul Sorvino, who recently passed away.
Yeah.
So in kind of a weird sense, I've worked with
50%
of the Goodfellas.
You got that kind of a Goodfellas mobster kind of. You got the dark hair. You got the kind of Italian.
I've heard that all my life. It's funny you mention that because I do.
Say gabagoo for me.
Gabagoo, man. I do murder mystery dinner theater also, and one of our scripts is a death of a gangster, and I quite often play a gangster. You know, I know things. I know people that can get stuff. You know,
right.
A murder occurs. 5 minutes later, I'm like, I got the pictures. You know, because I know about it. So, and I get to talk like this for a little while too with an AE show. It's a lot of fun. But so yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell. I mean, I got some road comedy horror stories and stuff. But for the most part, I got like meeting Pesci was cool, man. I was in college. I was studying broadcasting, which was probably the closest thing you could get to film.
Yeah.
It was called electronic media. Yeah. Okay.
Ooh.
So yeah, fancy, right? So I managed to get on as working in the locations department on a film called The Public Eye. It's like a gangster film. It's not really a gangster film. It's a film based on a paparazzi photographer. I guess you call him paparazzi in the 30s and the 40s, named Ouija. It's like a fictional character. And Pesci was the lead in it, and they shot it here in Cincinnati. And for an entire summer, I got paid a little bit, but I volunteered my time for the experience to work in the locations department and be on a movie set.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I've always wanted to make movies, so that's why One Nighters is kind of like really happy that it's finally done.
Well, yeah,
it took a while.
I really enjoyed it. You know,
I'm gonna touch on that in a minute. So long story short, I'm sleeping on a props truck one night, and I had met Joe Pesci a couple times, like on the set, you know, just doing my job. And he bullshit with me. He played golf. He'd be like, "Hey, where's a good place to go play golf in this fucking town?" You know, stuff like that. So, true story. So I'm sleeping on a props truck, and my legs are like, where's my camera? My legs are like hanging like this.
Yeah,
and he caught me catnapping walking back from the set, and he starts pulling me off the truck a little bit. This is before cell phones and stuff. I would have loved to have gotten this on a cell phone. And he caught me. I kind of jumped up, and he looked at me and goes, "I got you sleeping, you little fuck, yeah." And it was the greatest feeling in the world. Can you believe it? Joe Pesci? Please just call me a fuck just once. Oh, it was great. It was absolutely awesome.
You can die now. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
in the days of cell phone, in today's day and age,
like, Joe Pesci, fucking gun.
Yeah, just take us off. Here he is. Just a quick 30 seconds, please. So yeah, that was a pretty fun story. That was a pretty cool night. Not really embarrassing, but
no, that's a great story though. That's God, you know, like anytime.
But One Nighters is kind of like it was.
Like if this was over and then you would have said, "Oh, I should have talked about when I met Joe Pesci." What? Fuck yeah! You should have told us about when you fucking met Joe Pesci.
It's a good intro into making our film that took forever and a day to make, but we got it out there, and that was always the goal. So we never I've never expected to make any money off of it. The fact that we had Tim Wilson in it, and we had Leno and Judy Tenuta, and Billy Gardell when he was right before he really blew up. Like, here's what's interesting about it. Even though it was shot before like social media existed,
right?
Okay, like MySpace was in its infancy, if at best. There was no YouTube. There was none of this shit at all.
Right.
Which is, I mean, just to think in that short a time, like we've come this far technologically.
Yeah. I'm still mind blown that I'm talking to people like you. Like,
right, yeah, in a weird sort of way. In a weird sort of way, if we don't have anybody asking questions, I'm gonna feel like this is gonna end with one of us asking for a dick pic and sending somebody an OnlyFans link. So you know,
Done.
So
you're on.
So so.
I didn't know he's a weird fucker like that, Dan.
I'm just silly, man. I'm being silly.
Me, Dick, Ace to Dick, huh?
the way me and Phil came up with the idea was we were doing some shows together, and people would come. At the time, Seinfeld had a documentary out about being a comic.
Yeah.
And people would come up to us after the shows at these fucking bar gigs, which is no big deal. It's a bar gig. You're a comic. This is what you do. And they'd come up, they'd be like, "Hey man, I saw that Seinfeld thing. I bet being on the road's great." And we're like, "Yeah, if you're Jerry fucking Seinfeld. I mean, he's flying first class. He's staying in the best hotel." And I'm not saying that, like, you know, anything bad about that, but boy, our world is quite fucking different.
Right.
Not to say that he
have
didn't
a show
do
in the 90s that was a fucking hit, you know?
But here's the cool thing, and what the movie also kind of shows is that with guys like Leno and Tim Wilson, we've all lived that life. No matter where we are on the food chain, so to speak.
Carrie Carruthers has a great Seinfeld story. She's fucking great too. I don't know if you know Carrie.
No, okay. I don't watch a lot. I'm really weird. I don't watch a lot of. I don't.
Well, no, she's a New York comedian. I didn't know if you guys had met. But
no. So I mean, like, long story short, the whole idea was if somebody wanted to be a comic, hopefully somebody says, "Hey, go watch this film." Right. Because the thing that's cool is even though none of this shit existed, there was no social media, there was none of that stuff. The one thing that doesn't change is life on the road. Technology, there's no more like, you know, I go out with a young guy, you know, and maybe the GPS ain't taking us to the right spot. And, well, hey, I'm going to pull in this truck stop and go grab a map. He's like, you know, "You can read a map?" You're like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me." Like I'm Magellan, or, you know, I'm steering us by the stars and shit. So it's like, because I'm the old guy to a lot of people. So it's like it's wild to think that
Yeah.
as
We're
much
going
as
the right way.
technology
How do
has
you know?
changed our
There's
lives, life
Pisces.
on the road doesn't change.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that. And it's the same whether you're Jay Leno or me or Phil or, Jerry Seinfeld. We've all done what you're watching, every
Right.
one of them. So that's kind of was our point, I guess, when we was kind of the thesis, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it shows that.
And I brought this up to Phil, how excited I was when I seen that little Timmy Wilson was in it.
Dude, I worked with Tim. What I loved about Tim was he was so full of road wisdom.
Yeah.
Just like you could learn so much. I mean, even like when you watch the film, I mean, I could remember being on the road and he would just have story after story after story. Like, hey man, let me tell you something, and he would,
yeah, that sounds like it. Yeah.
Right. And you would just be like, you would be mesmerized. I mean, he was such a great storyteller and
Right.
Just a wonderful, all around, really nice guy.
At the First Baptist Bar and Grill.
And yeah, so I mean, I guess you could say a lot of the general themes that we wanted to convey in general lifestyle, I guess, if you will. I don't know if that's the right word, but he did a very good job of describing it. And we hope we showed it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's a ride. I'll say that. It was a ride to make it. I'll tell you that.
I encourage anybody out there watching. You can find it on YouTube. It's called One Nighters, and it's Phil Perrier and Dan Friedman, and they interview like these great comedians: Jody Tenuta, Timmy Wilson, Jay Leno. I mean, it's like there's great, just such a all-star cast of people on there, and along with, like he's talking about, like that on the road feeling, like not just like at the show doing the show. No, this is in the car driving hundreds of miles.
I mean, it was crazy, man. It was like fucking nuts. You got three guys in a car. One of them's got a camera, and by what today's standards would be an archaic GPS, but for the time it was like, oh, we're at 62 longitude. Like, none of that shit makes sense to me. I'm like, I'm in Wyoming, I don't know where the fuck I am. And it was just like it was just crazy to think that we packed all that shit in there and we made that happen without the technology that we have today. I mean, hell, he could have carried an iPad today, but then it was like, this camera and that camera.
The movie would have been twice as good.
I mean, well, it was crazy. Like, and then you were talking with Phil a little bit about this, which reminded me of some stories. My biggest pet peeve, I always prided myself on being a good MC. Always learn the fucking comics names. Like, I've written down intros for people and they've read it completely wrong. Like, I literally wrote down one time, he works clubs. I wrote it down for the guy. This is some radio guy. I'll never forget. I don't even remember where it was. I wrote down, he does clubs and colleges all over the country. He's open for Bobcat Goldthwait, and I spelled it out. I printed it.
Yeah.
Tommy Chong, Mitch Hedberg. Please welcome Dan Friedman. Very easy. And this is what the guy, he's worked clubs and colleges all over. He's open for Bobcat Goldthwait. Tommy Ching, apparently, really, bro? Like, Tommy Ching, really, dude? Really? And Mitch Heidelberg. Oh, okay, thanks. Now I look like a comedy schmuck. Please come to the stage, Dan Freeberg. I'm related to Stan Freeberg.
Woo,
True story.
Freeberg.
And what's funny is I said to him, I go, Stan Freeberg was a comedy writer in the 60s. And he goes, he had no fucking idea. Like, it went like, meow. And I was like, wow. Dan Freeberg. I've been Dan Feldman. That's a good one. I've yet to be Dan Fogelberg. I'm hoping for that.
It was very close, though. It was very close.
And I'm going to need to learn a Dan Fogelberg, like, know something that he does.
I was talking to one guy, and he had to introduce Kostaki Economopoulos one time.
Hold on there, I've got a frozen screen there. There we go. I think I lagged out a little bit.
So anyway, I had one guy, and he had to introduce Kostaki Economopoulos.
The man of many consonants.
Yeah.
How was Mitch Hedberg?
Mitch was a really cool dude. I have a cool Mitch Hedberg story. I was doing one of the two greatest compliments I ever got. One was from Mitch Hedberg, that made me feel like, okay, I can write stand up. And then the other one was from Bobcat. I had opened for Bobcat 3.
Just fucking genius.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
God.
I had opened for him 3 times. The first time, I didn't even realize he watched the show. The second time, he walked up to me and he goes, "I like the new stuff." I was like, "Holy shit, you watch the show, really?" And then the third time, he was like, "Hey, I like what you add." Like he really like watches everybody who goes up before him, whether you know it or not. It was wild. And then Mitch, I have a joke about putting your hand on a page and making a turkey.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in the film or not. It's a fun joke. I've been telling it a long time. And I did that joke with Mitch, and Mitch had a joke, like a hand on the page making a turkey joke. And he goes, "Hey, man, I thought I was the only person who had one of those." And I was like, one of those kind of jokes. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't even know you had one. If you don't want me to do it, I won't." He says, "No, let's each do our hand turkey joke and see which one does better each night." I was like, "Okay." And we got about the same response. It was fun. And then after the show one night, we were working in Columbus. I couldn't tell you the name of the bar. But at the time, I lived in Cincinnati and would drive. I was driving back and forth to do the shows. And he says to me, "You've got a car up here." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You want to go see Hank Williams Jr.?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "There's this little honky tonk bar here in Columbus, and he's going to be there tonight. I'll pay for you to get in, and we'll hang out and drink some beers and go see." I want to say Waylon Jennings. I said it was Hank Williams Jr. And I was like, "Okay." So we drive to this little dusty ass bar. It's in Columbus, and I think it's a famous like blues country bar in some respects. I'm not a big blues country guy, and sure enough, we went in and sat like at a table, and he played some songs and tell some stories, and I sat and Mitch and I talked about comedy. It was fucking wild. Nothing horror about that. It was just wild. Like
you wouldn't look at Mitch Hedberg and go, "Yeah, I think he's a Hank Jr. fan."
Yeah,
neither would I. Neither would I. But I mean, when you're on the road, you're stuck in a hotel all the time.
Right.
The one thing that I guess the one-nighters doesn't kind of demonstrate is when you have to go somewhere you don't have transportation.
Yeah.
But that's a rare. I don't say rare, but like 90% or more, 90% at least are driving around and telling jokes. Not a lot of people flying, So where are you guys out of? I got some questions for y'all. Where are you all out of again?
Well, I come from a little town called Cuba.
Cuba, Missouri?
No, Illinois.
Oh, really? Okay, because there's a Cuba, Missouri too.
One.
What's that?
We wish we were the Missouri one.
Y'all have like little gang fights?
Well, it was population 1,600 when I left, and now it's about a population 1,000. So
really,
yeah, wow. It's one of those really expanding burgs.
I drove to a town called Thor, Iowa, one time. It's pretty fucking small.
Yeah, there's lots of those towns in our area.
We live in LaSalle, Peru. It's just south of Chicago. Well, south.
It sounds to me like you've been living a dual life in South America and just saying it's in fucking Illinois, man, because I'm not that good at geography. I don't even know if all these towns are real.
Well, some people think Chicago's its own state.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't like driving through there.
No, it's
driving through there is fucking taking your life in your own hands, man.
You guys, that's
kind of like Atlanta.
That's nothing. Boston is the worst fucking place to drive.
Atlanta.
I've never been up there, but Atlanta wasn't bad when I would go through there. But Chicago, the thing that always pissed me off about Chicago is like, stop every like so often and like throw them 50 cents. Like just charge me like an $8 cover and let me get on my fucking way, man. I'm losing time every time I got to do this. Like, just like, hey, are you driving through? Yeah, $8. All right, cool. Yeah,
cool.
I know about my business.
Does this cover all of Illinois?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess my one road horror story. I got one kind of road horror. It's kind of funny. I did shit in my pants once on my way to a show, which involved a lot of alcohol and White Castles.
30th person now that shit in pants? Okay, all right.
Yeah, that was this was
my work holiday.
I had way too many cervezas the night before. What's that?
Nobody ever says accidentally came myself.
I do. Well,
I know, right?
We'll say that for later.
Is that why they call him Third Arm? I'm driving to go do a show. It's from Cincinnati to Dayton, which is like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And the night before, I'd been out drinking, and I had a bunch of White Castles and way too many
Oh,
fucking beers. I was in my 20s, you know what I mean?
All right.
Like,
Booze and
Yeah.
White
stupid.
Castle.
They do the
Say no
Same
more.
thing to me.
Yeah, I was enjoying myself that night, and I think I got a fart on the way up, and it wasn't a fart.
No.
So I stop at a rest stop, throw my underwear away, clean myself up as best I can, and you know when you okay, I feel like Seinfeld. You know how when you shit in your pants, you know when you crap your
You
pants,
know
you're
when
like
you
this.
shit your
Is the
pants
smell
and you
still
have to-
there? Is the smell? Can you get it? Oh fuck! I can still kind of smell something. This isn't good. So I spend the entire night avoiding people. All right, I like do my time on stage, get the fuck off. I'm hanging out by the dumpster, smoking cigarettes. You know what I mean? Just
Right.
staying away from people. So a lot of times when you do shows, like I don't like to eat before I get up, so I'll ask the cook, hey, can I get something? Can you make me something when I come down that I can eat dinner? And I was in back eating my dinner in the way back of the kitchen, like trying to be the fuck away from everybody. And a server walks by, and they had just taken some bad food out of the fridge behind me. Thank God. And she walks by me, and she's like, "Do you smell something?" And I was like, "Well, they just took some food out of the fridge that's rotten." And she goes, "No, it smells like somebody shit their pants back here." I couldn't wait to go home.
I was in when I was in high school. I was in my.
I thought I'd made it. No.
When I was in high school, I was in my kitchen. My parents went out. They hardly ever go out. And my mom, she was all sorts of tanked. And she's doing one. She comes in and she's got her head on the counter and she's going, "Matt, if I could teach you one thing in life, tell you one thing in life, it's to never trust a fart." And I'm like, and then she goes silent. And then she goes, "I gotta go."
Oh, wow. Mine was one of those ones where you're driving and I drive a stick. So how you kind of like lift your leg up.
Yeah.
Like, just in case.
Just in case.
And well, that was one time where just in case. Now we know why we do
Didn't
that.
quite get it.
Yeah, it was.
At least you can drive a stick shift. Sure, you shit your pants, but at least you can drive a stick shift.
Now, I wish this had made it in the movie. And this would have been just a good role. I tell a lot of comics this. If you're like, hey, you ever been on the road a lot? If they start going on the road. If you ever got to take a shit, I hate shitting in public. I don't know about everybody else, but me, I'm not. I'm like if I'm at the grocery store and I'm like, I need a bath, I don't feel good. You know what I mean? Like it's bad. And I always tell comics, if you're ever on the road and you got to take a crap, the two best places to stop are hotels, because hotels like to keep their bathrooms clean. They want you to stay there.
Right.
Okay. And you ready for this shit? Casinos.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
So little road tip from Dan, little one-nighters 2.0 and shit.
All right.
I'm
gonna make a note of that. Casinos and what was the other place?
Hotels.
Yeah, I always make a point to shit at a casino too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I put like 25 cents in a slot. I don't want to be a dick, but
I
was like, hey, thanks for letting me drop the load here, and
it would literally take
seeing
me. It would take me like a half hour to get through fucking security because I'm 35 and they card me still. So they gotta check your ID, scan it, look up the camera, now take a picture. I'm like, I just got to shit, people.
I get carded for cigarettes, if you can believe that shit.
My luck.
Listen to my voice. You should not card me based on my voice alone. Like when I walk in and go, I'd like a pack of Camel Blue 99s. There should be no fucking question that I am over the age of 18 and have been smoking for a long time.
Give me a pack of Doral 100s unfiltered.
Right. Well, I used to smoke Lucky Strikes when I thought Don Johnson was cool. It's one bad habit I have is that I smoke, but could be worse.
I moved to the.
I just thought of a funny.
I
just thought of a funny skit. Like a guy like has to shit, so he goes into the casino and, like you said, like throws a quarter in to, fuck it, just to, and he wins.
Yeah.
And now he's still got to shit.
Then you got to
wait.
And
it's a hand payout. It's a hand payout where you got to wait for the girl to come over. Like, hey, we need you to fill out some tax forms.
Like wins big. Like wins big.
Really?
Wins $10,000. Like, oh God.
That's when you learn about what's called the tipping culture. That's when you go, hey, can you stay by this machine and I will tip you $100 so I don't shit in my pants and you guys are going to be here longer. Yeah, I'm not a huge gambler, but I mean, we had some fun at the casinos. When we did one-nighters, we worked a couple casinos. It was cool. I won a jackpot one night. I did. I won like I think $1,000.
Oh,
Like
nice.
dollars. I was just playing the fucking thing one at a time. I just wanted something to do. And
Right.
Put a quarter in.
Right.
Put a quarter in.
no, it was dollar spin.
In the car.
It was dollar spin. I said I'm gonna put $20 in. As 20 spins. We'll see what happens. And then when I won my 20, I was winning like $1 here, $2 there, and then this was back when they would spit
Where
coins
was your
out
favorite place to perform?
throughout the years.
Yeah, I'd say yeah.
Man, that's tough, dude. Nobody's ever asked me that.
Where was your worst place to perform on the other side?
Worst place I ever performed, I did a one-nighter in Altoona, Pennsylvania. All right. And it's like this kind of biker bar. It's a nice gig, but it's kind of biker. It's a rough bar. And I'm 22, 23, smart-ass college kid coming in here with a couple of dick jokes and some shit that might make you think. You know what I mean? So I get up there. This is kind of funny. And the guy who's starting the show off, he's not a comic. I'm the opening act. I'm doing 30 minutes. He goes, well, your headliner next week is a Jew. And I was like, oh, fuck. And I'm a Jew. And I'm like, I got to fucking go up? Are you kidding? The headliner looks at me and he's like, you have fun with that. And I was like, fuck me, man. How do you follow that? You know what I'm saying? Because I have Jewish jokes I do. And
at least he wasn't introducing you in Idaho.
Yeah, well, I know what you mean, but the gigs there were actually kind of nice. I said kinda. But no, I'm not shitting on Idaho. We had fun. We found a really good greasy spoon in one of the towns in Idaho. Yeah, it's the largest. Was it?
Neo-Nazis.
No, neo-Nazis or some shit. I don't know. I missed the meetings. I don't know. What was I getting at? I get up, he brings me up, and I literally open my show with, hey, folks, I understand your headliner next week is a Jew, but this week your opening act is a Jew, so buckle up, we're going for a fucking ride. And they went nuts. And then I had them the rest of the night. I was so scared, though. I was like, I really got to follow that? Holy shit. Like,
Jew.
Yeah, and I was like 20. I mean, I wasn't unwise to the world. I was well-traveled as a kid and stuff, but I mean, like, I'd never been brought up that way. You know what I'm saying? Like holy shit. Had a bad date one time where couldn't wait to get a date. This was back in high school or college, maybe. Couldn't wait to go on a date with this girl. I finally got up to the nerve, asked her out. She said yes, got a flat tire and a thunderstorm that I had to change a tire in the rain. I get in the car, I'm soaking wet. She goes, you know what? Let's not go out tonight. I just want to go home. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. That was the first and last date.
The things guys do to get pussy.
Yeah.
It wasn't even at that point. I was just hungry and wanted to fucking eat. I was like, really, like, do I really have to? Can I go get something to eat first? And you can fuck off, but can you wait till I get something to
fuck off right after that? But I'm going to get a burger.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I'm going to stop at the gas station, grab a jerky and a Mountain Dew. All right. Well, I'm hungry too. Well, you want to go home, so I'm in a hurry. So yeah,
I mean, to buy you dinner before you tell me to go fuck myself.
I got a really kind of weird. I got a weird, embarrassing sports story for you. As a kid, when I was a kid, my dad and I would go to the Reds games. You could go in 3 hours early and watch batting practice. So I'd go and we'd take baseballs, right? Have cards. And we're talking, I was a little kid, like, I don't know, 8 all the way through, like, probably up till college.
Okay.
And you go, the secret was you got to go down and you got to say to the ball players, you got to call Mr. Hey, Mr. Bench, Mr. Johnny Bench, not Johnny. You don't know the motherfucker. Don't call him Johnny. My dad taught me this. Don't call him Johnny. Call him Mr. And they'll sign it. So I'd badger these guys. I had Dave Kingman told me to go fuck myself as a kid. That was kind of cool. Jack Clark told me to fuck off. And then he gave me the ball he was practicing with. That was bothering. I was following him all over the stadium. It's like, Mr. Clark, let me get that ball. Finally, he gives me the ball. And I said, hey, Mr. Clark. And he goes, oh, my God, what? I threw a pen down. I go, can you sign the ball for me? And he signed it for me.
Oh, nice.
But there was a game where, do you know who Walter Alston is?
I don't know.
Okay, Walter Alston was a famous manager for the Dodgers, like in Brooklyn and when they went to L.A. or back in like the 60s.
Yeah, no.
Maybe even the 40s. Famous manager for the Dodgers, to say the least, or well known if you know baseball lore and stuff. So we're at a Reds game, and my dad sees who he thinks is Walter Alston, and he's like, "Go get Walter Alston's autograph." I'm like, "Where is this guy at?" And he's over there in like the fourth row behind the other team dugout. I'm like, "All right." So I go over, walk all the way over there. I got a baseball, got a pen. And I walk up to this guy and I go, "Excuse me, Mr. Alston, would you mind signing my baseball? My dad is a very big fan. And, I know I'm little, but I know who you are." And the guy looks at me and he goes, "Hey, I'll sign your ball, kid, but I ain't Walter fucking Alston. He's about 4 rows over that way."
Thanks, Dad.
So then my dad sees me walk away. In the days of cell phones now, he probably would have called me like, "Where the hell are you going?" But I went back to the seat. I go, "That's not him." He goes, "Well, where is he?" He goes, "The guy said he's down there." And he goes, "Why didn't he walk down there?" I go, "He could have been wrong too."
He could have been fucking with you.
So
Not like getting fucked with twice by 2 different people.
yeah, I didn't want to be on a goose chase. I think it did end up being him. I don't remember. We did end up with his autograph, so I know I got it that night. But
I got Bernie Mac's autograph at Wrigley Field one time. He was throwing out the opening pitch right when that.
Wow.
Yeah. We tracked. It was like
Mr. Baseball.
Yeah, our 8th grade class trip, and
or Mr. 100. Was that it?
Yeah, something like that. But literally, like, I'm like, "Mr. Mac, I did the same thing, Mr. Mac, can I get your autograph?" I literally, these bodyguards came up and like grabbed me and like, "Hey, come on, let us."
How old are you? Like fucking
8th grade.
Yeah, 8th grade. Yeah, like
yeah. This 13
you
to
get fucking
12-year-old,
taken out by the fucking security.
You're 8th grade. I didn't even have fat then.
everybody,
But he's like, I'll sign your ball, shorty. And yeah, still got it.
I live by, I think everybody should get on stage at least once in their life and try and make a room full of strangers laugh just to see how hard it is. And I think the other thing everybody should do is be thrown out of a sporting event or some sort of entertainment venue at least once in their life. I had that happen one time to me in college. No, not bars. Like a football game or a baseball game or some shit like that. I got booted out of a
Soldier Field with cigarettes.
Is that right?
Really?
2 strikes. So yeah,
I would be kicked the fuck out. In fact, I'm going to have one. Thanks for reminding me. I have to maintain the gravelly voices.
Oh, Soldier Field's a fucking hole. Yeah, I've never been there. I just heard.
I hate.
I went to a Bengals Bears game when I was a kid, and people threw shit at me. I was like 14 years old. Ickey Woods was on the running back for the Bengals, and he didn't do well that day. And all day long, these pricks behind me are, "Ickey didn't do Dicky. Ickey didn't do Dicky." I had to listen for that shit for 4 fucking quarters, man. 4 quarters.
It's a terrible place.
Yeah, I'm a Bears fan, and we're all cocksuckers.
I mean, they're not as bad. They're not as bad as Philadelphia. I mean, Philadelphia is the fucking worst. But
it was in the old Soldier Field though, not the new one.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you go,
I don't know if there is.
When you go through the main entrance of Soldier Field, doesn't matter who they're playing that day. They chant "fuck the Packers."
Really?
Doesn't matter if they're playing the fucking Patriots.
That's
they're
cool.
Yelling, "Fuck the Packers."
That's cool. See, now everybody in the Bengals division hates the Steelers. So we used to hate the Browns. It used to be the Browns versus the Bengals, but I don't know, somewhere along the line, the Steelers fucked up and they incurred the wrath of everybody in the AFC Central. So I don't know what happened there. I'll tell you what was cool. Here's something interesting. What's cool about going to 6 Super Bowls, talking about football. I went to my first Super Bowl in 1982. Okay. And I went to my last one around 2005, 2006. Okay. And in that amount of time, I went from like when I first went to the Super Bowl, literally, I drove to Detroit with my dad when a buddy of his that he did business with, we got a hotel room on a Saturday night, went to the game on Sunday, drove home Monday morning. That was it. And now when you go, it's like, you got to come do the NFL experience. You got to come see the fucking trade show. There's all this shit to do. Like they didn't have any of that stuff. It was just another football game. I mean, they still have famous people at halftime, but like it was wild, and it's wild. I've wanted to maybe write a book about it, like, because I've seen it totally transform from like a fan's point of view. Like, it was nuts. There were no like $125 jerseys. There wasn't any of that shit.
No,
none of it. You were lucky you got a program, you got a chili dog, and you watched the football game. I mean, not to say that by the time I went and saw Prince, I didn't appreciate where it had gone.
I heard that's where John Cougar got his first chili dog.
No, I was behind the hot dog stand. No, what was it?
And
I'm close
he
enough
didn't
to
know what to
Indiana.
do
I
with
should
it
know.
then either. So
Trying to think. What was there was another that was the nightmare Super Bowl, I guess, was the Miami where it rained. I don't. Oh yeah, my dad got pickpocketed in Atlanta. That was fucked up.
what's that?
We got pickpocketed. My dad got pickpocketed in Atlanta at a Super Bowl
Oh no shit.
on the MARTA. Yeah, yeah, it was fucking
That's
crazy, man. Crazy. The way it went down was kind of nuts. Like, because it's so crowded. Like everybody's trying to get to the game, your ass is to elbows, and the way they work in teams, it's usually like 4 or 5 people, and what they do is they get everybody bumping into one another and shoving, and when they do that, they reach in your pocket and you wouldn't even fucking know.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I mean, like it was nuts. Like I remember we got off, my dad's like, "My money's gone." I'm like, "What?"
Oh,
He's like, "I think I got pickpocketed." I'm like, "Really?" And we're about to go to the Super Bowl? You got to be fucking kidding me! Like. You know, I mean,
well, no chili dog for you this time.
Yeah, well, this was. But you got to remember, it wasn't like it was today. They didn't really take credit cards yet at fucking stadiums, or that shit was just starting. You know what I mean? Like
no,
this was in
cash. You didn't
this was
cash,
in like
you're fucked.
early '90s, so not.
They didn't have that fucking stick the card in it, slack it back and forth,
tap it and shit. That stuff.
You can use your fucking. If you forget your wallet at home, no problem. I got my fucking cell phone.
There you go. Ching.
My battery has 10% remaining. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take this down to the basement. I'll join you in the basement. I live in my mother's basement. It's cool. We're cool with it. Some people want to give you shit for stuff like that, and I'm like, sounds like it bothers you more than it bothers us.
My mom says I'm cool.
Well, I always say, like, she's a vegan, so when I first came back to Ohio, she's like, you can't bring any meat in the house, and I'm like, you fucking kidding me? I'm bringing my weed in the house. I'm bringing my meat in the house. I am the antithesis of.
Can I eat pussy in the house, Mom?
No.
No. Ixnay on the ussy pay.
No, we're good. Bring you down to my, what I call, let me see if I don't know how the lighting is down here.
Oh, I gotta grab my phone. I don't know what the fuck I did. I'll be right back.
Ah, cool. No, they're not. Well, there we go.
Play me off, Johnny. Play me off.
I was trying to find it, but I had a picture of me and Eric Steinbach and Aaron Shea. We were I was at Kid Rock concert. My buddy's actually cousins with Eric Steinbach, and we went back to a bar, and he goes, "Hey, can you chug beer?" And I go, "Yeah, I can." And he goes, $100 on the table right now. I'm like, all right. Like, well, if you win, we'll give you $100. You just have to buy us a beer if we win. I'm like, all right, bet. So lined them up, chugged them down. I fucking killed both of them. NFL fucking linemen.
Holy shit.
I was like 21.
Yeah.
At it.
Where's the drunkest you've ever gotten?
Like, where's the drunkest I ever got?
Like what city? Yeah. Like
what city? Man. Either it's a tie between St. Louis Mardi Gras.
Everybody's like, is he being bombed?
Yeah.
Shit's all bouncing
Mardi Gras, or man, I went to a festival in Chicago one time. I got really fucked up and I puked in an Uber. That would probably be, yeah. St. Louis Mardi Gras, actually, I was throwing up like in the street.
New Orleans, Louisiana. I used to sell cookware. They had this thing on Bourbon Street. They have this big pickle barrel, and it's called a Hurricane.
Yeah.
I had 4 of them.
I was drinking at Mardi Gras in St. Louis too.
Yeah. So you know where
you know it. Comfort for a year.
Yeah. Did the room spin? And I say spin. I don't mean like, did your room spin? I mean, did it spin like a motherfucker?
No, I'm talking. My room was like. I'm sitting there in the bar and my eyes are shut and my friends are still talking to me and I'm just like, all right, if I open my eyes, I'm gonna fucking vomit on everybody.
Oh my God. Yes. I got so sick that day. It was unbelievable. I remember I got so drunk. I spent all my money. I had no money for a cab to get. I was staying by Lake Pontchartrain. This was the year before Katrina. Mm-hmm. And I was staying there, and I remember I had like $20, and it was like probably like a $40-$50 cab ride. I was so fucked up, I was just spending money left and right. And finally, the guy, I go, hey man, how much is a cab? He goes, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Lake Pontchartrain. He's like, yeah, that's too far. And I just start staggering fucking down the street like, all right, am I going to have to figure out how to walk home from here? And he comes running up. He goes, all right, how much you got? I go, $20. So I'll take you. I don't remember the drive. This guy could have fucking, I don't know, made fake IDs with me. You know what I mean? Like, I remember getting out, throwing up, getting out of his cab, going up to the room, and then the room just literally spinning like an out of control airplane with no pilot. Like, I had to sell. I was a pitch man, so I had to sell grills. It was a cool like little stovetop grill, and so I got to do a pitch all day long. People walk by like, hey, have you seen my grill? They come on in. I give them a couple bites of chicken. They give me money. It's a nice exchange. Yeah. And I give them a grill too. They buy a couple grills, and not just the chicken. It'd be real expensive chicken for a bite. Right. And I remember I showed up to work the next day, and my boss was like, he's like, hey, have you been drinking this morning? And I'm like, no. He's like, it's coming out of you. I was like, wow.
This morning?
And then I just went and like threw up a couple times, took a nap in the car, and eventually I was all right. But that's probably the drunkest. But you asked me earlier about my favorite place to perform. There's a couple. One would be my home club of Go Bananas here in Cincinnati. One of the reasons is it's still set. We remodeled it actually when COVID hit. We got it. I work up there also. Help out around the club. I help take care of the property that's on, that kind of thing. And
great. I'll come over for an open night.
Well, when COVID hit, we just decided, hey, let's remodel the place. Everything's got to be closed. We don't know when we're going to open again. Right. So we remodeled the whole club over the course of a year. So it's basically a brand new club again. But it's still the general design that it's got like low ceilings. It's very reminiscent of the Hollywood Improv to me, which was another fun place to perform. It's just intimate. The tables and the seats are close together, and the ceilings are low, and the acoustics are good. That's probably two. And then third, it's not there anymore, but I started off as a house MC for Ray Combs' comedy club. Do you know who Ray Combs is?
Sounds familiar. I can't picture him right off the top of my
head. He used to be the host of Family Feud, but he started off as the warm-up comic for Johnny Carson.
Yes.
So before Johnny would come out, he comes out and gets the crowd going.
Yeah, short guy, blonde hair.
Yeah, he's from Cincinnati. So he had a club here when I was first starting out.
No, two people from Cincinnati.
So I started off as a house MC for his club. So that room was a lot of fun to work. It's not there anymore, but that room was, and it's probably because I also kind of started like really learn my chops there. Worst place was that Hell gig in Altoona. That was just coming up that way made it. It was a good show, but not how worst I think I ever did.
Ooh, my actually. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
ahead. I opened for. Do you know who John Witherspoon is?
Yes.
Okay, I was opening for him, and didn't nobody give a fuck about Dan that night. Let me tell you, it was just literally like I should have just walked up and been like, "My name is Dan. I'm your MC. I'm not even gonna bother to do material because I know y'all don't give a shit. You're waiting for him, so let me just bring him out." That's what I should have done.
Before Tom Papa was big, I watched him open up for Carrot Top, and nobody could give a fuck less about Tom Papa at Carrot Top.
Right. I mean, it's tough opening for big name dudes.
Was this pre-steroids, Carrot Top?
Yes, way pre-steroids.
He looks kind of scary these days. I hear he's a super nice guy, but
he is.
I saw a picture of him and I'm like, you just always look surprised, dude. Like, I don't, hey, whatever. Does he do steroids or is he just like a...
He put on a great show. I mean, just really...
he builds all that stuff.
Like, he put on a performance. Like,
he builds all that stuff, though. He builds all that himself.
It was theater. It wasn't just...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was theater that he was doing.
Doing what he does is not easy.
No. God, no.
As a comic, there's some stuff like I like Sinbad. I envy that he can work the way he works and appeal to people age 8 to like 87. Me,
Oh, yeah,
not so
absolutely.
much. I mean, my voice tells
He's
you right
active.
away.
He moves around a lot.
Yeah, and I hear people like make fun of Carrot Top, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
No, I just think he looks surprised all the time. But he did get like stacked.
Fucking clue.
I like Magic Acts. I saw Penn and Teller in Vegas. They were pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up like in the third row for that show, which was pretty. It was kind of cool. When you come into the show, they have this big trunk, and you're allowed to go on stage and inspect it.
Yeah.
Right. So everybody's up there kind of knocking on it and, looking underneath and all this shit and looking at the floor. And
right.
So then everybody sits down and the show starts. And I think it's the big guy comes out.
Penn. Yeah. Penn
and he comes out and he introduces, hello, welcome to the show, blah, blah, blah. And then he has an assistant him and they come out and they cover this. He builds the box while he's talking to you, covers the box for not even 2 seconds. And the fucking little guy's there. Like, bam, it's crazy. And you're like, I just looked, there's no way, like, unless he was shot by a jet or something. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, the thing is up in no time and down, and he's like outside the box, like, hello.
Scotty, beam him down.
They were amazing to watch. And I saw Seinfeld in Vegas at a bachelor party with a friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
Did he perform
that was wild.
Bachelor party?
No.
Or is he getting lappies?
No.
This was the deal with these people getting married.
I'll tell you, it was funny the way he opened his show. It was a lesson in comedy.
What's the deal with this groom?
He walked out, and this was I think he was at Caesars, and he walks out on stage. I'll never forget his opener. I don't remember much of the show, but I'll never forget his opener. He goes, I'm X amount of years old. I forget how old he was at the time. I considerably younger than he is. He goes, I'm X amount of years old. I'm married. I have kids. I think he's got kids. He says, if you don't have any of this stuff, you're not going to relate to anything that I have to talk about tonight. Right?
Yeah.
Kills. And then he proceeds to just destroy you.
Yeah.
I have zero in common with that, and destroyed me for the next hour. It was unreal.
Nice.
Unreal. But the opener was just so like, you're not gonna get a lot of this, and then it just from there, like he just pulls you in. He was just a master at doing it. It was wild to watch him work.
Oh, that's very cool.
Like kind of like watching Tim. Like
yeah.
I remember I was working with Tim. This is kind of a funny Tim Wilson. This is a terrible story to tell. Do you know this is kind of a horror story as a comic. I like to write some topical stuff, every now and again just to keep my act fresh. A joke you can do for a couple weeks, a month maybe, and then it's gone. There's nothing wrong with that. It keeps you sharp. Because a lot of my act is, how do I say, like some of it hasn't changed in a long time.
And then that's what I do for the rest of the forever.
Well, not completely, but yeah. I mean,
I know stuff. No, I like stand-up.
I know what works. You know what I mean? Like, and I have certain jokes that I like to tell or whatever. And so this was a time, Payne Stewart, the golfer, you remember him? He died in a plane crash.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
And I'm working in Columbia. I think it's Columbia, Missouri, with Tim Wilson. And on the way there, I had wrote a joke. I said, "What'd he say before he hit the ground for?" Kind of just really bad. I had a hat like what he used to wear with me, and I was like, "Anybody lose a hat?" And I put it on. Really bad.
Yeah.
So I'm doing these jokes, and they're killing, and I'm killing it. The first night,
it's not funny.
Did 2 shows. I think it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday gig, and I come off stage after the second show that night. And it's the first time I've kind of met Tim. I met him that earlier when we both kind of arrived. We were staying at the same hotel, but not a condo. So we had both arrived at the venue, roughly the same time to get our hotel information, all that fun shit. So we kind of briefly introduced each other. And I'd heard a lot about him. I mean, it's not like I didn't know who Tim Wilson was. And so I'm kind of really looking forward to hanging out with him after the show.
Mm-hmm.
So he's sitting at the bar. The show's over. Sitting at the bar. Everything kind of calms down a little bit. And we're finally able to sit down and have a drink. And he goes, "Hey, man, I don't know if you know this, but you might not want to be doing them Payne Stewart jokes." And I go, "Why is that?" He goes, Payne Stewart's from here.
Oh.
He goes, how
And
you
I
doing,
love-
Payne? And then
I
he looks at me,
love
he
the
goes,
Tim
do you play
Wilson
golf?
delivery too, man. I love the delivery with
Yeah,
it.
and he goes, do you play golf? And I go, yeah. He goes, how the fuck do you not know that Payne Stewart's from Columbia, Missouri? And I said, well, I mean, I know who he is. Like, and we were both kind of laughing. I mean, having a real good laugh about it. Actually, he and I went and played golf later that weekend.
Hey, man.
But I'll never forget that. He goes, you might want to lay off them jokes. He says, I'm not saying they're not funny. They are.
I'm not
But
saying
you might not want to do them
they
here.
are.
And I was like,
They are.
okay. Yeah, I was like, okay. So
wrong venue. Know your crowd. Know your audience.
I'll never
Exactly.
forget that as long as I live.
Yeah.
And he whispered it.
Get up and run out of the fucking club crying.
I was like, yeah, I don't think I'll be doing this tomorrow night. He goes, do them somewhere else. Don't do them here. And I was
God,
like, okay.
that would have been the best. Like his wife gets up, runs out of the crowd.
That's exactly
like,
what he said.
Ladies and gentlemen, his wife.
Show you what kind of a guy he is. That's exactly what he said. He said, you don't know, his wife could be in the audience.
Yeah.
I go, but it just happened like 4 days ago. What in the fuck would she be doing at a comedy show? I mean, shouldn't she be more? The Jew in me came out. I was like, shouldn't she be mourning?
I
mean, are you
Her
really?
friends probably took her out. You know, comedy will make you feel better.
Right. 4 days after your husband hits the ground in an airplane. Okay, yeah.
Remember when your husband died?
Those are shitty friends.
Woo,
the Jew in me comes out there. Those are shitty friends. Just take her out to the club, get her a little drunk. She'll forget all about it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, 4 days after. Okay. He laughed when I said that. He goes, you got a point. And I go, yeah, well, you're right, though. I didn't realize he's from here, and I look like a real asshole doing it. So. And then the guy who owned the room.
You're a dick.
The guy who owned the room owned a car dealership.
Dan Friedman's a cocksucker.
He came up to me the next day and he goes, hey, I just want you to know, all my sales guys were telling those Payne Stewart jokes at work today. I was like, oh my God. And then a really kind of cool thing about that story, somebody told me my story about myself on the road one time. Like, this is why you don't make fun of, like I don't usually. That was the weird thing about that whole situation. I don't normally, like, something tragic, I don't try and write a joke about it right away. Like, you know, there's it's like 9/11 taught you that. You know what I'm saying?
More than 4 days.
Right. And I forget who it was. It was somewhere on the road doing, some one night or somewhere. Somebody goes, did you ever hear the story about the guy who told the Payne Stewart joke 4 days after he died in his hometown? And I looked at him and I go, you're fucking talking to the guy. And he was like, oh shit. And I was like, yeah. And then I told him the Tim Wilson story.
We're pretty close to each other.
Yeah. That was wild. It's only happened once.
Tim Wilson told me.
So you can get more Tim Wilson in one nighter. So guy had words of wisdom. I mean, he was so cool about telling me that. Like, he could have just been a dick and let me do the jokes all weekend, you know?
That's very funny. That's fucking awesome.
So I'm trying to think if there's any other kind of crazy. I did lose a gig once to a broken down car. That's not really nothing bad about that. My car just broke, and the guy's like, well, I'll cancel you. And then he never gave me work again. I called one booker one time to ask him about work, and he goes, stop leaving such fucking long messages on my, and he leaves this really long message on my machine.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I called him back, and he's like, he even said something like, hey, I'll call you or whatever, but he left a long message like I do. So I called him back and I was like, so are you going to book me or what? That message is really long and you never told me. Comics do weird shit, man. We do weird things.
Well, you try things. All you can do is try things, and in your head it's funny.
Oh, yeah.
And appropriate,
but inappropriate. It's like, is this? And there's that line there. It's like, should I? And then sometimes you do, and it's bad, and then sometimes you do, and it's really good.
Right.
It's
a fine line, man. I grew up listening to like Carlin and Lenny Bruce, and I grew up buying comedy records. That's the one thing I think a lot of people too if we ever do another one-nighters like follow-up,
Mark's wife was
which
just
I
talking about comedy records tonight.
Oh yeah,
That's
And
crazy.
we got Pryor, we got Carlin.
oh
And
nice.
I grew up. I know he's taboo now, but god damn it, I grew up on Bill Cosby albums, and they were fan fucking.
Oh no, I grew up. I was I like the way Cosby could tell stories,
Oh
especially
God.
all those stories
that's
he
the
tried
thing.
to tell
And I
after
think that's why.
roofing and raping women. I mean, those are some
I mean,
serious
other than
fucking
that, like,
stories.
say you take that part of the scenario out.
No, he was still a masterful writer. There's no question.
Yes,
Yeah.
God. And like,
But he was just
and
a
I think that's
shitty
why,
individual.
I think that's why I like when I make people laugh. I like to tell a story.
Right.
And then I bring the story around, and I'll throw some jabs in when I'm doing it, and just I love nothing better than just like sitting in a room, like fucking.
I have a lot of comics who tell me I should just tell stories on stage and stop writing jokes.
I just thought of something really funny, but I didn't want to say it because it was very inappropriate. See, in my head, it was funny.
It was
but
funny. I've got a Hitler.
Dan, I was just gonna say, Dan, I gotta tell you this now. I was just gonna say, just because he was a bad person doesn't mean he was good at what he was doing. But of course, Dan's the only fucking Jewish person I'm talking to right now, so he's offended.
You want to hear a funny story about that? I'm working. Do you know who Daryl Hammond is from Saturday Night Live?
Yes.
Okay, so Daryl Hammond was the middle act. I forget who the headliner was. We were all doing a show together and hanging out, and the headliner goes, "Hey, do you want to see the funniest cartoon you've ever seen in your life?" And I was like, "Sure, I'm cool. I wanted to draw comic books. I like drawing video games, all that kind of art shit." And it was South Park's The Spirit of Christmas.
Oh yeah.
And we laughed so hard at it. I predicted two very crazy things in my life. The other one has to do with a play. So long story short, when we were done, we watched it like 3 times because we were laughing so hard we couldn't like hear everything. And when it was over, I said, "That's going to be on TV one day." And I said it would be Cartoon Network. I was wrong about that. But one of them says, "No, it's too dirty." And I said, "If you bleep it, it'll be even funnier." And to this day, 30 years later, that show's still on TV. I saw Adam Lambert perform in Wicked when I lived in LA with my mother.
Yeah.
And at intermission, when you go out into the foyer, and because it gets into the wine, and I'm like, I'm gonna go smoke. You know what I mean? Like, so everybody in that foyer was talking about this kid on stage who could sing unbelievably. And a few people who I got into a conversation with, we all were like, that guy should sing for Queen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then he ended up on American Idol. And then years later, of course.
Right.
Which is just kind of wild. Like, that's too kind of like weird. Do.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
I heard that's where he became gay.
No, I think he was probably way there.
I don't think you know how that works.
Watch the documentary on Netflix.
Oh, all right. Because I thought it was you go into theater and then.
Hey, shameless plug time. Speaking of documentaries.
Yes. One-nighters. Everybody on YouTube. See One-nighters. It's fantastic.
It's free. Sometimes you got to go back about 5 minutes because it starts really weird. But I'm actually going to be redesigning my website. So I'm going to make a whole page kind of devoted to the film within my website. So I'm a tech nerd. I worked in the game business for 15 years. So.
Yeah, that's what you said. That's what you said.
I worked on some really good games and worked on a couple shitty ones.
Did you watch
nothing like
Ratatouille?
this? Shitty.
Nobody knows how good the game Ratatouille is, and it's fan-fucking-tastic, and nobody ever talks about it.
No, but as a comic, and if you're an old school gamer, you'll appreciate. I worked on one of the Leisure Suit Larrys.
Oh, did you really?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
Except it was kind of funny.
Did you make the dart noises? Is that what you did?
No. I tested.
Did you say "nice try, Tabitha"?
No, I made sure Artie wasn't sounding fucked up on heroin on the recordings and stuff like that. That's like I'm trying to think. Give me a second. I'll look it up here. I'll tell you which one it was. If I can spell leisure.
Because of that.
By the way, to get ready for this show today, I started smoking pot at like 4. So
yeah, his wife gave me an edible a little bit ago, and I'm really feeling it.
Oh, nice. Leisure Suit Larry games. I'm trying to think of which one it was.
Oh, I'm fine.
I'll tell you here in a second. It was Leisure Suit Larry Box Office Bust.
Oh, okay.
And it had a lot of phallic symbols in it, like the trees and shit were shaped like penises. We used to say it should be called Leisure Suit Larry's Land of the Dicks, because that's kind of like, it's a fun game that was cool. And if you ever do any of the racing challenges, and they work, you can thank me. That was kind of a neat game.
People Tabitha because of that, or using their middle name as Tabitha. Like if it's a guy,
well,
I'll be Matthew Tabitha Staub. You know, like.
Now, do you guys know anything about games, or are you not gamers?
No. I'm not really a big gamer. I love to play Halo. I played the shit out of Halo.
I've got a PlayStation 3, but it's more of a Blu-ray player.
That fucking
right on.
that Ratatouille game, like people don't know it, but it's one of the funnest goddamn.
I played it.
Ever
I think it's what we call a platformer.
It's tough. It's a hard game.
I was like Resident Evil. Driver, that was like one of my favorite games on PlayStation 2 when it came out.
What was the one I did?
I worked on a lot of Call of Duties.
Oh yeah,
I worked on like a lot.
Yeah, I've got Call of Duty.
Yeah, I've got Modern Warfare for PS3.
He said duty.
You want to hear something weird? At a couple times, I was in the top 1,200 in the world in Call of Duty, like several years ago.
Really?
Yeah. Thank you. Just for the record, that's never gotten me laid. Just so you know.
I didn't get my dick sucked once.
5 words that are never going to get a guy laid. I am good at video games.
Too high. Just go for a blowjob, man. Why are you even trying? It's like I don't.
5 games never going to get you laid. 5 words.
I
am good at video games. You know what 5 words will get you laid? I have a retirement plan.
That's
going to get you laid.
Yes, I have a 401k. I have used that line before.
I've got money.
There you go.
Can we just become best friends?
That's what I
Some people are watching right now like, hey, I wonder if he's got a retirement plan. Folks, I'm good at video games.
There you go.
My friends hired a magician.
And I live in my mom's basement.
Kicking your ass from down below.
Short dick and I get off quick.
Kicking your ass from down below, baby.
My friend hired a magician for their daughter's 9th birthday party.
There it is.
And I was so stoned during this whole thing. And I went up to him. I'm like, oh my God, that was amazing. And I'm like, I love magic. I'm like, can you teach me something? He goes, do you like getting laid? And I go, yeah. He goes, don't learn magic.
He started off as a magician with Johnny Carson.
Is that right?
I believe he started off doing magic, and so did Steve Martin.
Wow.
Oh.
Steve Martin's one of my favorites. I love Steve Martin. My act has some stories. Some, I guess you could say, that would be like, I had a write up one time. They described me as like an, I don't want to say, I kind of like an edgy Seinfeld or a, because I can be a little edgy. I guess that's probably the best way to describe what I do.
I love Steve Martin. He like one of my. But
some of it's silly. Like I like silly shit.
Well, that was the thing. And he said he's like everybody's so dark right now because of Vietnam and everything's so political. He goes, and when that's over, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be wacky, like Grandpa bought a rubber.
I had that album. I think I still have that album.
Oh, you want to get small, man?
I have the one with King Tut on it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man. I was just sitting at home last night doing terrible things to my cat with a fork.
Like, lady next to me says, "Do you mind if I smoke?" And I said, "I don't know. Do you mind if I fart?" I tried giving it up one time, but I gained a lot of weight.
How many times at work did we hear that rubber biscuit song? It was like 3 times, 4 times a day, maybe on this XM station.
What are you about?
Now, are you a Python fan? Do you like that kind of comedy and stuff too, or no?
What's that?
Do you like Python and Cheech and Chong?
Oh God, yeah.
Like shit like that.
I've been watching on God damn it, the guy who played House.
Oh, Hugh Laurie.
Hugh Laurie. Him and
how
another
the fuck
guy.
Do I know that?
Him and another guy.
If you ever need like a lifeline on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, you can jot my number down. I know all kinds of useless shit. It makes me any fucking money, but I know like crazy, stupid.
Big fan of bar trivia.
Yeah,
we won last week actually.
Fry and Laurie. Look up Fry and Laurie on YouTube, and it's kind of like a Monty Python. It's an English comedy, and it's fucking fantastic. It's very Python-ish.
Right on. Right on.
Yeah, it's got Roland Atkinson is in it a couple times.
Oh,
you know,
nice.
I mean, it's like it's got like a lot of Roland Atkinson.
I just watched
fantastic.
his new movie. He's like a house sitter or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
him
called.
against the bee.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, you were talking about your wife's going out to get some albums or something tonight.
Yeah.
Like, I've always felt like, how do I say this? Like, everybody's always so worried about what they look like. Is my hair good? What should I fucking wear? What you're saying is funny, none of that shit matters.
Yeah,
and
it
I've always thought like a lot of times, like even when I'm in shows, I don't necessarily watch the comic on stage, but I kind of look down and listen, like I'm listening to my old records back in the day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, in fact, a buddy of mine just recorded an album. His name's Bruce Leonard. I'll have to forward you his info. Really funny cat.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, please do. Yeah.
You'd like Bruce. Bruce is really funny.
You know,
we kind of sound alike. He's a little more raspy.
I'm going to say this right now so I don't forget. It is such a compliment for you to say that, like right off the bat, like I'm going to forward you his information, which that's an extreme compliment to me, and I think that.
What's that?
I go settle down, boy.
Settle down.
His leg is shaking under the table. He's
My leg's
excited.
always shaking. I got ADD.
He just recorded an album. I work for the Board of Elections. I run a polling place. Oh God, I probably just got in trouble.
You know what's great? You know what's great? Everybody out there. I
swear I'm telling dick
this
jokes.
Is the fucker that's running your polling. This fucker here. He's running your polling place. Okay, so
my numbers always match, and the shit's on the up and up. So shit's on the up and up. Our numbers always match.
Where's Trump missing votes from there?
There's no fraud there.
No, that's
No, I'm fucking Democrat.
So no, I was doing that all the last couple of days, and I also like teach too. So I was teaching classes at the board, and unfortunately I was working a lot, and I kind of came home and passed out and missed his show. But I saw a little bit of it. A friend of mine streamed some of it for me, and it's he's really funny, man. So I'd like to forward.
Awesome. Yeah,
he's got stuff to promote. And,
please do. Absolutely. I would.
I'm thinking of becoming a streamer. This kind of shit's all right. I don't know how I can make my Xbox work with an iPad and not crash the whole. Like right now, this is the only thing I'm using to make sure that like I'm not like watching porn in the like late 80s, you know, where with dial up and you see the guy who's like
dial up.
You know what I mean? Like
Me.
I used to say the difference between like porn on the internet now and back then is back then you used to get to see somebody get ready to get laid.
Yeah,
it was all on dial up.
There's no shit like back in 80s, like 86.
All slow, like what?
Like, you had to watch porn on a fucking like 8mm reel to reel, you know, like my
that's before my time.
Dad had she found like a shit ton of her dad's porn.
Oh wow!
We're having a party, you know, and they're on vacation. Like we got the 8mm.
Oh wow!
You know, like
that must be really awkward when you need to put it when someone's coming in. You need to put it away real quick.
Well, here's the thing: like, you had to watch it all as a group.
Oh,
and
that's creepy.
And you know what? Bringing this back around. That's the first time I came myself. So anyway.
It was always that your buddy's dad's like, yeah, my dad's divorced. You know, he's got a stack of nudes this high.
Right.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, everyone's in the fucking each individual bathroom.
Yeah, my uncle had egg crates, and each one holding up his bed. He had egg crates holding up his bed, and under every
oh wow, that's weird.
Playboys and hustlers and shit underneath.
Holy shit. Jackpot when you're 16. So I'm 51 now. It's kind of, they always said like, as you get older, your sex drive goes down. And
he had a lot of weed and a lot of nudie magazines. I like that guy.
Oh, your uncle sounds like a cool dude. My uncle was a dentist and put the fear of needles into me.
My uncle got me high and taught me what pussy was. So,
he did teach me how to play craps.
Oh, there you go.
And my other uncle taught me a lot about cars.
Fun. Your uncle sucked, Dan. Your uncle sucked.
Yeah, he taught me. Well,
games and and pussy.
Yeah, video games and
My
pussy.
That's
buddy.
the two words that really aren't
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't go
in
together.
the same sentence in any
That's
fucking
oil and water.
capacity.
My buddy was gonna, or one of my coworker was gonna house sit for our boss, and I was at his house first, and he comes over. He's 25 years old. He's like, he's got his Xbox in his hand, sets it down, and I'm like, you brought your Xbox? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, it'll look fucking awesome on the 75-inch TV.
Hell yeah, it would.
He's got a duffel bag, pulls out a fucking computer monitor. He's like, you kidding me? He's like, I can't do this video game on this thing. Apparently, you'll die quicker if you don't have like a super good resolution or something. You probably know all this shit. But I'm like, you probably get
that was a young kid using his technological expertise to confuse the fuck out of somebody older than him. That's all that was.
Are you stupid, man? Are you stupid?
Yeah.
You're gonna die twice as fast because the resolution's not gonna keep up with
the resolution doesn't have shit to do with shit.
I bet you
It could.
movies too.
Okay.
I knew what the fuck he was talking about.
So actually, in a weird sort of way, yes and no. From a technical standpoint, I used to sell electronics. I used to sell digital signage and stuff. Technically, resolution also allows you, how do I say, in a game, it's gonna make shadows crisper. It's gonna make so the higher the resolution, when you're looking off in the distance, at least in a shooter, you might be able to see somebody hiding in a fucking bush.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
As opposed to like if you're playing in like 4K as opposed to 1080. If that makes any sense.
He's still a pussy. I don't care.
But that's it. Yeah. But still,
And
it's
if you're on a
frame rate.
32-inch screen, I'm not gonna get it. I'm an electronics dude. So
I play a lot of Madden, so I'm a football nerd. So I'm probably going to set up a Twitch channel and start doing some streaming, and we'll see how that goes in the Madden community, if you will.
Yeah, send me the link, and then I'll put it out on mine too.
No, you don't want to. This is total nerd. This is me yelling at the fucking TV. This is like a really bad color guy. I throw an interception. Are you shitting me?
I'm following you.
No. I'm just saying. I don't know if they're going to want to hear me doing my best upset Vince Scully. You know
remember
what I mean?
when Mr. Holiday was cool and he didn't promote Twitch fuckers? Yeah, I do.
That Dan guy's playing video games again.
The thing is I don't really want to use a camera though. All these I'm not looking to get rich or doing anything like that with it. I just want to kind of like help.
Yeah, everybody hates that, Dan. Everybody
No.
hates that.
No, I'm not.
Out there that are making more money than me.
Millions,
it's insane.
Millions. So
yeah, no, there are some dudes like buying houses and shit. Like, yeah, I play Minecraft. Like, you're gonna be fucking
I bought this
kidding me.
with a Bitcoin.
No.
Yeah, I mean, there's crazy niches out there for games. It's the new Timothy Leary was right. He said that video games were like the next stepping stone to after hallucinogens, and he's completely right.
Timothy Leary said that.
Yes.
Well, obviously they've never watched.
Not necessarily. I'm paraphrasing, but I mean,
like how fucking old? When did Timothy Leary die?
I don't know. I'm old, but I'm not that old, but I'm well read.
Yeah, it was in the 80s. It was in the 80s. So Atari was out, you know.
Yeah. This was before we had what we have now.
All right.
That's what made it so prophetic.
I'm thinking more modern. I'm like, wait, what the fuck how much acid have you done?
There's a cowboy game called Red Dead Redemption. I play that every now and again.
Right.
Yeah, go out online and fuck with people. That's fun. I'm real high level. I can be one of those people. Or if you harass me, I don't try to kill you, but I kill your horse. Because then you have to go all the way back to town to go get it. And if we're in the middle of fucking nowhere, it takes a while.
So
I'm a dick.
I'm colorblind, so most fucking like military games are a fucking nightmare for me.
We have colorblind settings.
I heard it. Somebody told me, but I'm not buying a fucking PlayStation 9 to feed my kids for a half hour a week.
Just to play Spider-Man and go, it was okay.
I played a Batman game that was fun.
No, Arkham Asylum was a great game.
My daughter and I play Arkham Asylum. Yeah, my daughter and I
phenomenal. That game's replayable good. You know what I mean? Like, I'll tell you, I got a game. I like the South Park games. Those are fun.
I had that for N64.
I'm sorry?
Nintendo 64, I had the South Park game.
They had a Nintendo 64 South Park game?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yep.
I wonder what that looked like. Was it written by Matt and Trey or no?
What's that?
Was it written by Matt Stone and Trey Parker or no?
The South Park game? Oh, yeah. 100% it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
On Nintendo?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, look it up. N64.
Yeah, I have the Stick of Destiny. That's the one I have. That's a tough fucking game.
Oh, you mean Stick of Truth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stick of Truth is hard. So is the what is it? Fractured Butthole. Get it?
Yeah,
Fractured Butthole.
that's a tough fucking game. I'm done. I'm not a good gamer at all. I'm fucking out.
I play some shooters. I play Call of Duty every now and again, and mostly I play I worked on Tony Hawk games, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, those are my favorite when I was a kid. I did play a lot of Tony Hawk games.
Tony Hawk holds up, man. Those are great games.
You look at this shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How much is that shit on Amazon? Is that on Amazon?
No, it's a used one for $37 on
wow.
DK Oldies. Yeah. It was almost like Bond. Remember how Bond was set up?
Yeah.
How you could just see like the gun in front of you or whatever. It was almost like that. And then you'd pick up things and they had like this little laser thing and you'd shoot these cows and they go up to
okay. Yeah. I think it used the same engine maybe. In fact, one of the games that I remember I loved from that system was a Star Wars game. I can't remember the name of it, but you flew ships.
Oh yeah, the Rebel, Star Wars.
So Rebel Assault or some
Rebel
shit.
Assault,
I think
that was.
Now I do remember playing Doom when it came out. One of my biggest prides in my gaming career, if you will, as it were, for all the games I tested. I had played Doom when it came out on like PC, and then I got a Sega, and I got the fucking thing that goes in the top just so I could play Doom. And then years later, when I was working at Activision, I got to test and get my name into the original. They bought the license, if you will. They bought the game, and then they turned it into Xbox arcade game. And I was part of the 4-man test team on that game. So I got my name when you watch the credits with it's old school Doom, like Doom 1 and 2. Just you can play them on your Xbox, if you will. And I got my name in there. That's pretty weird to like play a game and then 20 years later get your name in it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That was wild.
Awesome. All right, brother. We're gonna wrap this one up. We're an hour and 16 in. Woo! Yeah.
Is that good?
That's what happens when we're having fun.
No, I had fun. Anytime, man. Anytime. Yeah. Can you do more? Can you do more than one person?
What's that?
Could like me and Phil be on together on here?
Absolutely.
That shit? That'd be dope. All right.
Yeah, that'd be fucking great. Yeah, it's gonna be like probably because you can't do it like
right.
Like give it like a month or two, and absolutely we'll have you back.
Yeah, we'll see if we can coordinate that.
Yeah, that'd be I'd fucking love that. That'd be fantastic.
Fun. Yeah, God, and then awesome. I will forward you my buddy's info tomorrow.
Please do. I'll tell you what. Hold on to that just for a minute.
And thank you for having me, by the way.
You're so fucking welcome.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do is
very grateful. Thank you.
When I end this, I'll end the broadcast, but we'll still see each other, and we'll hang out. And we'll shoot the shit for just a minute or two after that, and because I think we've made some new friends.
Cool.
And I hope
I'll send you my OnlyFans.
We've made some new friends too. And absolutely, look at One Nighters. It's on YouTube. This guy's a fucking beast. He's fucking fantastic. Phil Perrier is fucking fantastic. You see these great fucking classic comedians. And too bad you can't see Timmy Wilson again. He's not with us anymore. But you can see him on One Nighters. See him on One Nighters. And everybody, again, if you like a podcast, if you're not going to give us money, you cheap fuckers, you do have the device in your hand. Rate, review, go to iTunes or Apple Podcasts, and at least leave a review. Leave a review. It helps out so much. Share this episode with everybody. And from a room next to my bathroom in my basement, this has been my worst holiday. Good night, everybody.
Good night.